I read this book, The Daddy Long Rag. Okay, start. Blue Wednesday. The first Wednesday of every month was an offer day. It was day when the trustee of the orphans came to visit. Every floor must be cleaned, every piece of furniture must be polished, and every bed must be perfectly made. 97 little orphans must be washed and dressed in fresh clothes. Trustees of orphans came to visit. Jealousy about the oldest orphans secretly called it Blue Wednesday. Jealousy worked hard all day, but finally this Blue Wednesday was over. She went upstairs and sat down by the window. She watched the trustees living in their cars. Then she heard Tommy Dillon calling her. "The Martin wants to see you," he said. Jealousy wondered what she had done wrong. She hurried along the dark hall to the office. She saw a last trustee at the front doors. He waved his arm toward the car waiting in the drive. He was very, very tall. The car had light through the tortoise shadow against the wall. The shadow had extremely long legs and arms and looked like a huge daddy long leg. It looked so funny that Jealousy laughed. She went into the office smiling. "Sit down, Jealousy," said Mrs. Lippett. Jealousy said, "Did you see the gentleman who had just gone?" said Mrs. Lippett. "I saw his bell," said Jealousy. "He's our most generous trustee. He has sent 2 boys to college, but it seemed he does not like girls. Anyway, today at the meeting we talked about you." "Me? Yes," said Miss Lippett. "You have done well in school and especially in English. Today an essay you wrote in your English class was read to the trustee. You know, the one named Blue Wednesday." Jealousy felt guilty. "It seemed that you were not very grateful to the orphans," said Mrs. Lippett. "But fortunately, the trustee you've just seen thought your writing was very original, and he offered to send you to college." "To college?" Jelly's eyes grew big. "Yes," said Mrs. Lippett. "He will pay all the expense. He thinks you could become a good writer." "A writer?" said Jealousy. Her mind was numbed. "You will receive $35 each month for pocket money," said Mrs. Lippett, "and in return you will write him about your daily life and study. This letter will be addressed to Mr. John Smith, although that is not his real name. If needed, his secretary will write to you on behalf of him." Jealousy was very confused. Mrs. Lippett continued, "He prepared to remain unknown and will never answer your letter. You are the first girl he decided to send to college. I hope you do not disappoint him." "Yes, Mom, thank you," said Jealousy. She went out of the room and closed the door behind her. 215 Vargas Hall, September 24th. Dear kind trustee who sent orphan to college, I'm here. College is so big that I get lost whenever I leave my room. This is a letter to say hello. I'm not used to writing letter, and it's odd to write a strange. I don't know who you are, but I know 3 things about you. You are tall, you are rich, you hate girls. I don't want to call you Mr. John Smith, so I will call you Dear Daddy Long Legs instead. I hope you don't mind. It's just a nickname. Please don't tell Mrs. Lippett. Oh, bells are ringing now. Time for bed. Good night. Your respectfully, Jealous Abbott. Chapter 2 Freshman. Dear Daddy Longlegs, I love college and I love you for sending me to college. I'm very happy. I have my own rooms. There are 2 other freshmen on my floor who share a room. Sally McBride and Julie Pendleton. Sally has red hair and is very friendly, but Julia comes from one of the richest family in New York and hasn't spoke to me yet. Yours, George Abbott. Dear Daddy Longlegs, have you heard of Michelangelo's? Everybody laughed when I said I'd never heard of him. His name sounded like it belonged to an answer. There's so much I don't know, so I looked things up in the encyclopedias. Now I'm telling you what I'm learning. Latin, French, geometry, English, and biology. I'm being educated. Yours, Judy. I've changed my name. Mrs. Rebecca chose my name from poem book. I've always had it. Please call me Judy. Dear Daddy Longlegs, I haven't told you about my new clothes. 6 dress all bought especially for me. I'm so grateful to you for them. They are all different and all beautiful. It's a fine thing to be educated, but owning 6 new dresses is even better. If you'd worn hand-me-downs all your life, you'd know how I feel. If you had worn hand-me-downs all your life, where or weren't? If you had worn hand-me-downs all your life, you'd know how I feel. You're just Judy Abbott. I know I'm not to expect any letter, but tell me, are you awfully old? Are you completely bald or just a little bored? Hand-me-downs meant bored. Dear Daddy Longlegs, you never answer my questions, but this question is important. Are you bored? I can imagine what you look like, but I can't imagine your hair. Do you have any hair, Daddy? I have new rules. Never study at night. Instead, I just read books because I've hardly read anything for 18 years of my life. I don't know the things most girls from proper family knows. For example, I never read Jane Eyre, Alice in Wonderland, or Little Women. I didn't know that Henry VIII of England was married more than once. I'd never seen a picture of Mona Lisa or heard of Sherlock Holmes. The Christmas vacation begins next week. The girls are excited and studying is getting left out. Everyone goes home except me and another freshman, Lerona Fenton from Texas. But we are going to have a lovely vacation. We'll take a long walk, and if there's any ice, we will learn to skate. And in my spare time, I will be reading. Merry Christmas, Daddy. I hope you were as happy as I am. Your Judy. Toward the end of Christmas vacation, dear Daddy Longlegs, is it snowing where you are? From my window, I can see snowflakes as big as popcorn. Your 5 gold pieces were a surprise. Thank you so much. I'm not used to receiving Christmas presents. Do you want to know what I bought with my money? I bought a wristwatch so that I won't be late for class. I also got a thick blanket and hot water bottle because my room is cold. For writing, I bought some manuscript paper and dictionary to improve my vocabulary. I also bought a book of poems. I hope you don't mind, but I'm pretending that you They were sent to my family in California. The watch is from father, the blanket from mother, the hot water from grandmother, the manuscript paper from my brothers, the dictionary from my uncle, book from my aunt. Vacation will be over in 2 days, and I will be glad to see Sally again. With love, Judy. Dear Daddy Long Lang, everyone is studying hard for the examination. I've learned 57 irregular verbs in the past 4 days. I hope I remember them till after examination. Julia Pendleton came by this evening for a chat. She wanted to know about my family. I couldn't tell her because I don't know, so I made up some names. She told me her family is connected by marriage with Henriette. I meant to write a nice long letter, but I'm very sleepy and I'm worried about the exam. Dear Daddy Longleg, I have some bad news. I failed in mathematics and Latin. I will have extra lesson and take another examination next month. Will you forgive me if I promise never to fall again? Dear Daddy Longleg, I'm lonely tonight. I had a super party this evening with Sally, Julia, and Lenora. We had a good time, but now I want to ask you something strange. Would you pretend you're my grandmother's just for tonight? Sally has one, Julia and Lauren each have two. They were talking about their grandmother tonight, and I wish I had one. So if you don't mind, good night, Grandma. I love you dearly, Judy. Mrs. D. L.F. Smith. You never answer any question and you show no interest in what I do. From now on, I will write only about work. I passed my re-examination in Latin and mathematics. Oh, Judy, you're jealous about. Dear Daddy Longleg, please forget that dreadful letter I sent last week. I was feeling lonely and unhappy when I wrote it. I'm in the infirmary now with tonsillitis. I have been here for 6 days and informally. I'm feeling very sick informally, so I'm very sick. I won't get well until you forgive me. Don't you feel sorry for me? With love, Julie. Dear Daddy Longleg, yesterday I received a box filled with lovely pink roses and a card from you. Thank you so much, Daddy. Your flowers are the first real true present I ever received in my life. I was so happy that I cried. I promise never to be bad again because I know you are a real person. After church Thursday, my favorite book is Wuthering Heights. Emily Bront was quite young when she wrote it, and had never known any man outside her family. How could she imagine a man like Heathcliff? I'm quite young and never went outside the orphanages, but I don't think that I could do it. Sometimes I fear that I'm not a genius. Will you be very disappointed if I don't become a great writer? Dear Daddy Longleg, Mrs. Rippat wrote to ask if I have planned for the summer vacation. If not, she said I may come back to the orphanage and stay there until college begins again. I hate the orphanages. I'd rather die than go back there. Thank you for arranging for me to spend the summer at a farm. I've never been on a farm before, and I'm very excited. Forgive this brief letter. I'm in French class. Goodbye. I love you forever. Dear Daddy Longleg, today I met another Pendleton. He's Mr. Jarvis Pendleton. Julia's uncle. Julia and Sally both have class, so Julia asked me to show him around the campus. He is tall and thin, and he has a funny smile that turns up the corner of his mouth. I felt as if I'd known him forever. We walked all over campus and had tea and ice cream and cake at the college cafe. But then he had to run to catch his train. Julia was mad at me for taking up all his time. This morning, 3 boxes of chocolate came from him for Julia and Sally and me. Isn't that wonderful? I wish you'd come and have tea someday. Dear Daddy Longleg, I've just finished my last examination and now I will have 3 months on a farm. I never been on a farm in my life, but I'm going to love it. I just arrived at the farm. The house is at least 100 years old. The owners are Mr. and Mrs. Sample. I like them both. We had a huge super and all the food came from the farm. My room has a big square table in it. I'm going to spend the summer sitting there and writing a novel. It's 8:39 and I'm going to sleep. We rise at 5. Good night, Judy. Dear Daddy Longneck, Mrs. Sample told me that Mr. Jarvis Pendleton used to own his farm. She was his nurse and he gave the farm to her. She called him Master Jarvis and said he was a sweet little boy. I started this letter to you yesterday. Then I went to pick some blackberry. When I came back, a little Daddy Longleg was sitting on this letter. I gently picked him up and put him outside. I wouldn't hurt one because they always remind me of you. When I finish this letter, I'm going to read the book I found in the attic. The name is Jarvis Pendleton. It's written on its first page in a little boy's hand. Jarvis Pendleton is written on its first page in a little boy's hand. Dear Judy, Dear Daddy, I've gained 9 pounds. I recommend Rock Willow as a health lizard.